There you go on YouTube. It's Simon from Tech My Life Video, and I'm in my car. I'm not living in my car, just so you know. I'm just out and about, and yeah, just knew I was going to have some time now to make this video. So I thought I'd make it. So hopefully the audio's okay. Hopefully the picture's okay. Hopefully it doesn't start pouring with rain like that. Oh, well, we'll press on. We'll press on. I'll talk nice and loud. Hopefully, you'll be able to hear me over the rain. But basically, Apple have announced their event. I'm sure you all know that. I'm sure you've seen other people talking about it. But they've announced their event next Tuesday, 4th of October, 10 a.m. Pacific time. So that's about 3 o'clock in the morning, Wednesday morning here in Australia. I won't get up probably when it's actually happening. And I may not even, I may kind of block my ears, la 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 la, because I actually like to watch the keynote address raw without having read anything or seen anything. So that's probably my plan, is probably Wednesday evening, track down the keynote, the zero spoiler type of thing, and try to watch that without knowing anything, because I kind of like to kind of just experience that. It's like watching a movie without knowing the end, basically. And then I go through and look at all the stuff afterwards. So there'll be plenty of stuff coming out live if you want to check it out. But what do I think is going to be in there? Well, let's start with the iPod Classic and the iPod Shuffle. Now, I predicted in a video a while back that the iPod Classic was gone due to the iCloud. There's also been reports out that the Shuffle will go as well. Now, I'm not quite so sure about this, unless they can bring the Nano kind of under the price it is now and make it really, really cheap to afford. But look, they may think that the entry-level Nano is acceptable. But here's what I want to see with the Nano, and the one thing that it's missed for me is Bluetooth. I don't know whether Apple didn't see it happening, but everybody's putting it in watch bands. They're wearing it on the wrist. But if you want to listen to music, you've got to have a cable running down your arm, so your head and your wrist, I was going to say your head and your wrist are connected, other than by your arm. But they are connected by a cable, and it's just inconvenient. If you've got Bluetooth, you can do that. I think the other thing that it could have, because it's being used as a watch, is Wi-Fi, so it can be just updated wirelessly like your phone is going to be able to, and also apps. If people could mess around with little apps for use on the iPod Nano when you're using it as a wristwatch. What I would like to see in that sense is, I'd like to see the fact that I can wear that as a wristwatch, and I can have it paired with my phone. If my phone's in my pocket and it rings, I can look at my wristwatch and I can see, okay, I don't want to answer it, or I want to answer it. If I've got a Bluetooth headset in, I can just tap the watch, or I can tap the headset and answer the call. I haven't even had to take my phone out of my pocket, but I already know who is calling. I'd love to see the same integration with the iPad. If I'm sitting there using my iPad and my phone rings, I want a little pop-up that says, this is the person ringing you, do you want to answer? I can tap the iPad screen, and again, it'll answer through my Bluetooth headset, or I can even take the call through the iPad itself, through the speaker and the microphone. I can actually talk like that. So a bit of integration there, this kind of merging of these devices. Also things like if you were listening to music on your iPod wristwatch, you could also pull tracks across potentially if you wanted to, and listen to them, or just control from the watch tracks that are on your phone, rather than having to and that would have to be Bluetooth, because you wouldn't have a wireless network around. But again, you're not having to get the phone out all the time. You can actually use the watch as a bit of a kind of an interconnecting device with your phone. Emails, text messages. Obviously, I'm not going to kind of have a keyboard on there, but if you could actually see who texted you, see who emailed you, things like that on the watch, or on the iPod Nano, which is being used as a watch, that would be sweet. Is it going to happen right now? I think Bluetooth maybe. This integration, not in iOS 5, but hopefully that's something that Apple will do down the track. So look, iOS 5 is the other thing that's going to be at this event. There's a lot of talk of voice. Now, a lot of other devices, Android devices, have swipe text, which is where you basically, if you haven't seen swipe text, if you're an iPhone user, is where you can draw a line between the letters and spell the words. And every time you take your finger off, it adds the space, so you can just sit there and scribble on the keyboard. Now, I saw somebody use it and it was like, oh, that's pretty awesome. Apple are looking at voice recognition. Now, personally, I don't want to text by dictating. I want a fast way of inputting text, because I may be having a conversation with somebody or multiple people when I'm with my kids, when I'm at an event. It might be noisy. I don't want to have to talk into my phone. That's the phone conversation. That's not to say voice recognition couldn't be fantastic, but I think there's that thing where you can have what is a private conversation in text that you can't do if you start talking. So I'm not sure about that. We'll wait and see. It looks like it's going to be heavily integrated, but I have to wait to pass judgment on that. But certainly I would like to see swipe text come to the iPhone. So the phone itself, what are we going to see? Are we just going to see an iPhone 4S, or are we going to see an iPhone 5? It's been a year and a half, well, the best part of a year and a half, almost a year and a half. Well, it hasn't really, has it? I don't know. It's been a year and whatever. Before we get them here, it's going to be almost a year and a half, I imagine, in Australia, because we won't get them when the US get them. So I would be disappointed, because I'm a 3GS user, never went to the 4, was hoping to go to the whatever the next one was. There's been so much talk of it being a 5. I'd be disappointed if it turns out to just be a 4S. So I think that there will be probably a 4S, probably a spec bump iPhone 4 with the antenna issue rectified, and then there'll be the iPhone 5. There may even be a 3GS still available as an even lower price point. That's yet to be seen. But also the updated iPhone 4S will be capable of doing all the new voice stuff. That may not be capable on even the iPhone 4. It may be only these generations on. Look, there's going to be things in the iPhone 5 that I'm predicting. It's going to have an 8 megapixel camera. That's got to be a given. The A5, I think it is dual core processor. I'm not really hugely technical. The screen, 4-inch. I reckon it's probably going to go 4-inch. The device is going to get slightly bigger but thinner. There's a big button thing down the bottom, the rectangular button that you may have seen in some of the images. Are we going to see that as a gesture area? I'm not so sure. And 4G is the other thing. Are we going to see 4G? I don't know. I don't believe our networks in Australia are capable of 4G anyway, so what's it matter? But that may be a possibility as well. The device, we've seen this tapered device, which has basically got flat front and the back tapers in, which means it's very thin at the bottom and wide at the top, top heavy. You put it in a dock, it's going to snap off, but because Apple are going to AirPlay, wireless syncing, will it have inductive charging? Now that's the thing that I'm wondering about, some sort of inductive charging, so you don't have to actually plug it in, you just put it on a pad and it somehow charges, or a magnetic device. Because we're going for the wireless sync, will it have no port at the bottom? Will it be AirPlay and a mag adapter kind of thing? I don't know. I mean, there's some possibilities there. I don't think it's going to be tapered, because as I just get my phone out, I mean, if you're holding a game in landscape, if it's skinny on one end and fat on the other end, it's going to be really weird in your hand to hold. So, and it'd be so top heavy that in any sort of dock, it's not going to work. I imagine a lot of the old docks won't work if the phone is wider, because the dock simply doesn't have the space where the adapter goes to fit this new device. So, if it does increase in size, that would be interesting. Edge to edge kind of screen. I don't know. I'm not really sure about the technology. I don't know enough about it to understand whether the screen can go right to the very edge. It can certainly cut down from what it is at the moment. It's you know, reasonably thick even on the iPhone 4 at the moment. So it can probably cut down a little bit, but it's not going to touch the edge. It's just not. I don't imagine that being realistic. And also, you want to hold the device without accidentally your fingertips, as your fingertips wrap around, you don't want them touching the edge of the screen. So you need a little bit of space. I mean, people said the iPad screen didn't go out wide enough, but you need that space to hold the device. So look, I'm going to wrap up. I think there's going to be an iPhone 5. I don't think it's going to be tapered. The features are anybody's guess. They've kept it very, very hush-hush. But look, we're going to see a great phone, I believe. It's going to compete against the Galaxy 2 in terms of its probably its form factor, thinner, lighter. Look, 41% of the American population said if the iPhone 5 comes out, they're going to buy it. That is scary for anybody but Apple. Actually, it's probably scary for Apple because they won't be able to make enough. I'm going to cut this video off now because I've been talking far too much. I'm Simon from Tech My Life Video, and I will be back on the other side of the Apple event with you know, more stuff about the phone and iOS 5. We'll see you then. All right, bye. Oh, don't forget to rate, subscribe, comment. Love to hear what you think, pre and post event. And yep, we'll see you soon.
How you going, YouTube? It's Simon from Tech My Life Video, and I'm in my car. I'm not living in my car, just so you know. I'm just out and about, and
yeah, just knew I was going to have some time now to make this video, so I thought I'd make it.
So hopefully the audio's okay. Hopefully the picture's okay. Hopefully it doesn't start pouring with rain, like that. Oh, well, we'll press on. I'll talk nice and loud. Hopefully we'll be able to hear me over the rain.
But basically, Apple have announced their event. I'm sure you all know that. I'm sure you've seen other people talking about it.
But they've announced their event next Tuesday, 4th of October, 10 a.m. Pacific time.
so that's about 3 o'clock in the morning.